Hello Internet, it's me Josh, the Aging Gamer. So here we are again, time for another retro review. And today's review I wanted to talk about for a very long time. It's one game that I hold true and dear to my heart. Let's talk about Squaresoft's Parasite Eve. Back in the late 90s, I was all about the PlayStation. Between my cousin, my sister, and I, we had a lot of PS1 games that we all borrowed and shared from each other. So all in all, I played all the Final Fantasies, Metal Gear Solid, Twisted Metal, Tony Hawk, Legend of Dragoon, WWF SmackDown, Breath of Fire, Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, Castlevania, Lunar, Need for Speed, etc, etc, etc. They were all games we played. One game that really stuck out to me, and even now is just totally ingrained in my brain, is Parasite Eve. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's the over-the-top morbid brutality and death, but it really hits you. It's a very sad game, and being honest, replaying this game again for this review, it still gives me the feels. It's definitely a game I won't forget anytime soon, and it's actually a game I've wanted to review since I started this channel. So, let's go ahead and get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Parasite Eve. Parasite Eve was released on the PlayStation back in 1998. It was developed by Squaresoft, and it's actually their first rated M title. The concept of Parasite Eve actually comes from a 1995 Japanese horror novel of the same name. There's a live-action film and a manga all based off the novel, and the video game is actually a sequel to the book. As for the game itself, it plays like a combo of Resident Evil and Final Fantasy. And maybe it's just me, but the main character of this game kinda looks like Cloud from Final Fantasy. As for the story, Parasite Eve takes place in New York City. It's Christmas Eve, 1997, and we meet our young rookie NYPD heroine, Aya Brea. She attends a blind date to the opera where things go horribly, horribly wrong. In a scene that would make Carrie blush, everyone starts to spontaneously combust. Aya confronts the person who seems to be the cause of this destruction. She goes by the name Eve, and she's mitochondria evolved to the highest level, and she wants to wipe out Earth of all humans. This is essentially the plot going forward. Why wasn't Aya killed amongst the rest of the audience? Will she be able to stop Eve and solve the mysteries surrounding this situation, as well as learning the truth behind her past? Of course, only if you can beat the game. Well, beat the game twice to get that super secret extra ending. There's actually quite a bit to the story, but let's get to the battle system first. So Parasite Eve is a real-time action turn-based RPG. You can control Aya at all times. There's no block button or any form of defense, really. When you see an enemy attack, you have to move away from being hit. Once your active time bar in the corner of the screen is filled, you can now attack. When you attack, you'll notice a dome appear around you. This is the range of your weapon. If your enemy is out of range, you'll likely miss your attack altogether. And considering that you can run out of ammo, but you likely never will, you don't want to do that. The trick is to wait for the right moment to step in and blast your opponent away. You'll also notice another bar underneath your ATB. This is your Parasite energy, which they might as well just call magic because that's what it would be called in any other RPG. Almost all of your Parasite energy, or at least the useful ones, are used for the likes of healing, reviving, and casting haste. Parasite energy will automatically refill during battles. However, if you use your Parasite energy too much within a battle, it'll start to recover very, very slowly. So plan out your attacks accordingly. Overall, I like how unique the battle system is. It's simple, but effective. It's easy to get used to, and it only gets better once you learn how to upgrade all your weapons. Yeah, building your weapons is a big part of this game. If you ignore it, you're gonna have a tough time. So as you play the game, you'll find tools. These handy items will let you take certain gun stats or side effects and trade them over to another gun. It's easy to use, and you can get a pretty strong weapon pretty quick. There's lots of spare guns you'll find, so you'll be able to build something pretty badass. So in this game, there's 6 different chapters you go through, or 6 different days as the game calls it, and there's quite a bit that happens, so let's go ahead and go through it. Day 1 consists of the whole opera scene. Aya chases Eve through the theater. You'll meet a clown who dies, fight a cute little rat. Oh my god! And you'll meet some nice crispy people. Hello. Aya sees a young girl, but she disappears. We'll get more into that later. You're in search of a key, which you'll eventually find, and you'll end up chasing Eve down a sewer where she escapes but makes you fight her own created Pokemon-looking crocodile monster. Kill it, leave the sewer, and we meet Aya's work partner, Daniel. He's a cool character who always seems to be driving at the speed of light in each scene. Jesus! Day 2, Fusion, has us meeting Aya's cop buddies and Daniel's neglected son, Ben. We go to the museum. Hey, chocobos! Alright, freaking chocobos are in this game. Actually, no, there's no chocobos here. Anyway, we meet a strange guy named Dr. Clamp, and he tells us all about mitochondria. They'll talk about mitochondria every chance they can in this game, so if you're not sure what that is, to put it simple, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cells that makes energy from oxygen. Daniel says they sound like a parasite. Dr. Clamp says that the root of all humans were traced back to a single woman in Africa, which they call Mitochondria Eve. Mitochondria Eve? Parasite? Parasite Eve! I get it now! After that, Aya and Daniel go to Central Park where Eve is supposed to show up. Aya goes solo since Eve can't burn her up for some reason. You'll fight lots of mutated animals and you'll be looking for another key. You'll eventually find Eve singing to another audience where they get brutally killed too. They all turn into some people goop and become this wave of mutilated slime. Yuck. Eve runs, but we still chase her. We'll fight some giant worms along the way too. At the end of the stage, Eve wants us to go on the chariot ride. Well, okay, you've only killed hundreds of people, but I think I can trust you. What? A trap? No way! Eve lights the horses on fire, and we have a small boss battle in what is probably the smallest little box I've ever had to fight a boss in. You can barely avoid her attacks, but once Eve is beat up enough, the chariot crashes and the police department loses track of Aya. And now we enter Day 3, Selection. Somehow Ben survives being liquefied and is reunited with his father, who just takes him back to headquarters to go play with a happy police dog named Shiva and then leaves again. What a dick! His son almost died! Stay with him, you bastard! Meanwhile, the police captain is trying to figure out what to do to protect the city from Eve's attacks. One of the guys said, "Shouldn't we leave this to the army?" Which the captain responds with, "We're the ones that are supposed to take care of this city." You know, he's got a point though. Why not get the military involved? At this point, Eve has already killed hundreds, likely thousands. I think dealing with a supernatural being that has the power to make people implode at will is a good time to swallow your pride and ask for help. So Aya awakens in a strange building. She was rescued by a Japanese scientist named Kunihiko Maeda and Daniel. Maeda has also done research on Mitochondria Eve and reveals that a similar but smaller Killer Eve incident happened in Japan several years ago. That Eve was stopped, but not before it tried mating to create a ultimate being. I haven't read it, but I assume that's what happened in the novel. Maeda thinks that this Eve is going to try and do the same thing. Aya questions why she isn't hurt by Eve, and why is she having random flashbacks. They go to Dr. Clamp's lab to do blood tests on Aya, but are interrupted by Dr. Clamp. Okay, so here's the thing. They talk about mitochondria and Aya's past throughout this whole game, so let's go ahead and spill the beans now. So when Aya was a young girl, her mom, her twin sister Maya, who is the young girl she keeps seeing, and Aya herself were in a car accident. Aya's mother and sister died. Maya was an organ donor. She had her kidneys transplanted to a young girl in need of them named Melissa Pierce. Maya's cornea was also used for Aya, who was born with an eye defect. Dr. Clamp has been involved in both of those operations somehow, and has been studying Maya's liver cells due to its unusually high mitochondria, which is now inside Aya and Melissa. Many years later, Melissa started abusing immunosuppressants, which lowered her immune system and allowed the dormant Eve to finally take over. Since Aya also has the same neo-mitochondria in her system, she is immune to Eve's spontaneous combustion techniques. Whew, that sure was a lot of words. Let's continue. After being shooed away by Dr. Clamp, they return to police headquarters where it seems like it's been attacked by Eve. While we don't find Eve, we do find a bunch of monsters. About time we get back into action. That chariot fight was the last battle we were in, and that already seems like forever ago. Let's spill some damn blood already! There's lots of monsters and dead cops here. Daniel's son Ben is still hanging out with the police dog Shiva, who is acting strange and trying to run away. Ben chases. Don't you do anything to that dog, Squaresoft! You leave that damn dog alone! Aya busts some caps and some asses, and we eventually make our way to Ben, who is being somewhat protected by the police captain from Shiva. Oh, come on, why Shiva? I don't care if any of the humans get killed, but why does this game kill so many animals? The rats, the horses on fire, Shiva. Just leave them all alone. So, boss time with the mutated Shiva. It's time to put her down. Enter day 4, conception. Now to the sperm bank. We gotta go to the hospital and stop Eve from getting sperm. Eve tries to stop Aya by cutting down the power, but after killing some monsters and searching for key cards and fuses, we continue our way. We reach the rooftop where we get ambushed by a giant spider. It's a sticky situation, but we kill it. Afterwards, Eve kills a nearby pilot and his jet is gonna crash right on us! Run, Aya, run! This part actually gets intense because if you don't know where to go, you can actually die. Run down to the corner of the screen and we'll escape. Now to day 5, Evolution. This is the longest day and there's lots to do. We gotta go to Chinatown and go through the whole sewer maze. Once we find our way through, we'll find that blob of people goo from a while back. We reach a water control room, then some train tracks where we fight a centipede monster. After this, let's enter disc 2. We're headed back to the non-Chocobo Museum. Now we're about to reach the longest dungeon type part of the game. This seriously took me so long because I kept getting confused on where to go. We're gonna fight dinosaurs and other monsters here. We'll find Eve on one of the security cameras and uh-oh, it's too late. She looks like she's getting a baby ready. We need to get to her ASAP. We find Maida in Clamp's office where we learn about Dr. Clamp's plans, and Maida gives us a special gun which we'll use later on. Dr. Clamp created a special sperm for Eve, and now an ultimate being will be born unless we can stop her. Clamp gets burned and we fight some more dinosaurs, including a Triceratops, and an epic fight with a T-Rex. We eventually find Eve and her big old pregnant belly and her evil giant monster boobies, but she escapes once more. Her big people goop monster protects her, and all of the military's attacks are useless. Eve decides that by destroying the Statue of Liberty, it'll make a good nesting spot. Aya, being the only one who can't be burnt to a crisp, decides to have a final showdown one-on-one with Eve. Boss time. In what is probably the hardest boss of the game, we have to take down Eve in 2 different forms. You don't get much time to prep before this fight, so I had to mostly rely on health restores from using my Parasite energy. It's tough because, like I mentioned before, the more you use your Parasite energy, the slower it recharges. Well, here's a little hint. Switching armor back and forth will actually reset your refill speed, so cast haste, heal, switch armor, dodge, and attack consistently. After enough hits, Eve is defeated. She melts away like Judge Doom in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. We did it! We beat Eve! But there's still one more day. Day 6, Liberation, is the shortest day because it has nothing but a fight with the final boss. It turns out that we didn't make it in time and Eve gave birth to the ultimate being. What makes this boss actually creepy is the fact that it starts off as a baby and makes baby noises, and not like demonic baby sounds, but real normal baby noises. Well, kill the baby. The ultimate being has several forms. The first form is practically harmless. The second form gets trickier as it runs around the screen while its detached wings will try and mow you down. Its third form really gets that Final Fantasy boss look going, but the fight consists of staying in close range but not directly in front of it. Keep shooting him. He evolves one more time. Daniel tosses us some special bullet for the gun Maida gave us earlier. And now we can just easily dispose of this monster. It's dead. It's finally dead. What? Why won't it just die? In the final part of this game, we're escaping. We gotta run through the ship. What makes this part so anxiety heavy is that you're just going to be running through a ship with no knowledge of it prior. You can end up making a wrong turn, and once that monster touches you, you're dead and you have to start over. If you know your way through though, you'll reach the boiler room. Aya sets the pressure to high and plans to blow up the ship with the ultimate being on it. Run, run, run! Shoot, shoot, shoot! We did it! It's over! For reals, we can unclench our butt cheeks now! Everything goes back to normal-ish, and our heroes even go to the opera afterwards. We see that Aya's powers are resonating with everyone else in the building, but she's a good guy, so it's all okay. And that's Parasite Eve. So, after all these years, how does the game hold up? Replaying it today, I still had a blast revisiting it. It does have its fair share of flaws though. The first thing I want to point out, and you could see this as a flaw or not, is that this game is very story driven, as you'd expect with an RPG, but in Parasite Eve, the gameplay and longevity of the game definitely takes a back seat. The game takes roughly 6 or so hours to beat, and it is on the easy side. You don't really have to grind to level up either. The game is pretty generous with how much experience points you get for battles, and if you just fight every monster that comes your way as you progress, you'll be fine. Other than that though, I love everything about this game. The main focus is that the game wants to tell you a story, and it does it very, very well. I like the idea and premise of how the evil monster can evolve from our cells and try to kill the host and take over mankind. You're not going to find that in any other game. It's very unique, it's very eerie, and the music you'll hear helps set that feeling very well. The soundtrack was composed by Yoko Shimomura, who was also known for her work on a variety of games, including Super Mario RPG, the Mario and Luigi sagas, and Kingdom Hearts. Her work here is amazing as well. Lots of beautiful, eerie piano keys and subtle tones of dread. Some of the tunes even have bits of opera, making the game feel very theatric. It really sets the whole tone of the game. So, all in all, Parasite Eve is a game I definitely think is worth checking out. Like I mentioned, it is on the short side, but there is some replay value with an extra mode after you beat the game. You restart the game with one of your strongest weapons, fight tougher enemies, can fight through the dreaded 77 floors of the Chrysler building, and even have a secret boss fight with Eve. If you want to play this, I recommend downloading it off the PlayStation Network while it's still available, because at only $6 for this game, that's a steal. But these are just my opinions. What do you guys think? What do you think of Parasite Eve? Think it's good? Think it's bad? Let me know in the comments below. I thank you guys for watching this video. Go ahead and give it a like if you want. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. And again, I thank you guys for watching. And until next time, I will see you all on the next one.